This week on the Superheroes, Villains, and Sidekicks Show, we'll be exploring the origin of The Walking Dead's biggest baddie, Negan, and his deadly friend Lucille. And that's what we'll be doing on the Superheroes, Villains, and Sidekicks Show. We'll be learning and talking about the origins and backstories of heroes and villains throughout the comic book universe and pop culture. We'll be looking at both popular and obscure characters you may have never heard of, but I think you'll dig. I want to give a quick warning here. Of course, there will be spoilers since we are looking at the origin of the character, and since it is Negan, there will be some foul language in this podcast. Now, yes, Negan just made his appearance on The Walking Dead show in those last few minutes, but we've seen Negan for over 50 issues in The Walking Dead comic, and come to think of it, we know nothing about him. What's his origin and that of his deadly friend Lucille? Well, we're going to find out what makes Negan tick and what caused him to become the man he is. But here's the problem. We'll be getting the 48-page origin story by Robert Kirkman and Charlie Adler, 4 pages at a time in Image's new monthly magazine, Image Plus, for the next 12 months. Now, I've had the opportunity to read the first 4 months worth of the story, and so far it is fantastic. To finally get a window on the man we've been watching and reading about for so long. Now, you may have noticed that this is a pretty short episode. These are going to be mini episodes. Remember, we're only looking at 4 pages. I had thought that Kirkman would possibly spin the tale off in, a novel like he did for The Governor. Those were fantastic. Part of me would have rather read a detailed account of how Negan was created. But at the same time, it's going to be fun to see the art and the story come alive. Now, Image Plus is a magazine that's being used to spotlight some of Image's new titles with extended previews. And like I said, I've had the opportunity to look through the first 4 issues, and they're pretty impressive. The 64-page magazine is distributed alongside Diamond Comic Distributors' monthly previews catalog, but you can also order them off of Image's site and different retailers. And it can be purchased for $1.99. So I'll be starting a multi-part origin series for those who don't have access to Image Plus and want to learn all about the man with the bat. I thought about grouping issues, but then I decided it would be more fun to share Negan's story in real time. Image Plus is up to issue 4, but we'll catch up with the issues soon. So here it is. The opening page has Negan standing by a fire, looking very solemn. He's wrapping Lucille with barbed wire. There's no dialogue on this page, and it looks pretty grim. We then flash inside Negan's garage at home, where he's playing ping pong. The first words we hear Negan speak are, "You pull your puds that slowly, fuckwit? Game point." He then goes on to insult his opponents with more colorful and imaginative language. Classic Negan. The next page really delivers a laugh because it shows 3 stunned middle school boys. So he's been cursing away and belittling 14-year-olds. So we see that Negan has always been a bit of a potty mouth. The boys leave as their friend who is playing Negan begins to cry, but not before one of them calls him Coach. How did we not guess that Negan was actually a high school coach before the zombie apocalypse? It all makes sense. The next 3 panels are great. We see the boys leaving and we see Negan from behind sinking into his easy chair, repeating the F word. He knows he was over the top, but it's who he is. Now the final page, we meet Negan's wife, and she berates him for using that kind of language directed at children. He's a teacher, he's a coach. He tells her that unless he's tough with the kids, they won't respect him. So now are we seeing more of what Negan will become amplified in the apocalypse? Just as his wife is about to say something though, her eyes roll up to the back of her head and she faints, hitting the ground hard. Is this it? Is this the start of the outbreak? Is she the first zombie Negan encounters? Unfortunately, we're going to have to find out in the next episode of Here's Negan. This is going to be tough. 4 pages at a time waiting to read this story. They are just great pages, packed. It seems like he's hitting, obviously, a little cliffhanger at the end of each 4 issues. And I'm really curious to see how this is going to turn out. Well, I want to thank you for listening to this week's mini episode of the Heroes, Villains, and Sidekicks Show. Our theme music is by Broke for Free, and you can find links to other music from the show on our website, heroesvillainsandsidekicks.com. There you can listen to the show, subscribe via whichever service you use, be it iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and if you have the time, please leave a rating for us on iTunes when you subscribe or download the show. It really helps us out. We'll be back next week with more. Take care. And since this is just a mini episode, this is going to be a mini word from our sponsor. Remember to check out Discount Comic Book Service. 40, 50, sometimes 70% off your monthly books. Shipped to you securely, fast. Check it out. Discount Comic Book Service.